Name is Elena Blanco. I'm 32 years old and I'm a sommelier. Wine Spectator once called my palate the $1,000,000 tongue. In one glass, I can pick out 17 different growing regions. I can tell you with a vintage just by the texture of Napa tannins. It took me 10 years to reach the top. The youngest Miss Master of Wine Canada Duke, heir to the Duke Winery. We'd been engaged for 2 years. The wedding was 3 months away.
Everything was perfect. Until the rating report. That morning I walked into the tasting room. My laptop was sitting on the table. Notes were on the screen, but someone had changed the score. And I had given it an 89. Blind, my fiance's new release sold for a fortune at auction in the 95. 80 number I typed, not froze stay. I checked the edit history typed. It showed my login at 2 a.m. Only Sebastian and I knew my password. The buyer's lawyer sued me for taking bribes to rig ratings. My sommelier license was revoked. The industry association kicked me out. The media went crazy. I called Sebastian. All he said was, "Elena, we need to take a step back." He didn't help me. He stood in front of the cameras and said, "We're still looking into it." He never said, "I believe her." The man I was going to marry chose silence when I needed him most. Later I found out it wasn't silence. It was calculation.
3 days later, I found out his assistant was the one who changed the score. I got my hands on an internal email where Sebastian told him to change it to 95. I brought a printout to confront him. His office was on the top floor of the winery, floor to ceiling and windows like a glass of whole vat over the surveillance. He used sunset would say it was his favorite time of day. Looking back, I think he just liked being up high, looking down on everything.
You don't understand. The winery was about to go under. We needed that money.
You destroyed my career.
I'll make it up to you.
How?
Marry me. Be Mrs. Duke. No one will dare question you.
I looked at him. That face I'd kissed 1,000 times suddenly looked like a stranger's. There was no guilt in his eyes, just the calm calculation of a businessman weigh his options. He was measuring the cost of marrying a disgraced sommelier against the cost of losing his winery.
You knew from the beginning.
He turned around. He didn't deny it. I walked out, didn't look back. But I took something from his drawer, his personal notebook, black cover, with every email, every transfer, every backroom deal he'd made with clients. It was my only proof. That night I drove out of Napa Valley. In the rearview mirror, the lights of the vineyards got smaller and smaller, like a string of stars going out. I ended up in a town called Yellowstone, Kansas. You can barely find it on a map. Fewer than 2,000 people, no stoplights, no grocery store, just one gas station. I rented an abandoned auto repair shop next to the gas station. The roof was rusted tin, it was an oven. In winter, an icebox. The floor was concrete, stained with oil that would never come out. It took me 3 days to clean it. I bought some folding tables and chairs, found some wine glasses at a thrift store, chipped, but they worked. I hung a hand-painted sign out front, the oil can tasting room. The letters were crooked. I didn't have paint, so I used leftover house paint. The people in town know me, didn't know my past. All they knew was that some out-of-town woman had opened a weird little shop. No customers. Day 1, none. Day 2, none. Day 3, I sat in that empty garage counting ants outside the door, wondering if I'd made a huge mistake, but I didn't have anywhere else to go. On the 4th day, a mechanic walked in. His name was Bill, 50s. His hands were covered in grease, black grime under his nails. His name was embroidered on his work shirt, washed so many times it was nearly white. He looked at my homemade wine list and frowned.
What's this?
A tasting room.
I drink beer.
You could try red wine?
How much?
He hesitated.
First one's free.
He sat down. I poured him a glass of Cabernet. Entry-level Central Coast, cost me maybe $10. He picked it up and threw it back like a beer.
Sour.
That's not sour. That's tannin.
What's tannin?
I explained it's a compound in grape skins and seeds that gives wine structure and that drying feeling. It softens with time. He listened, took another sip.
A little bitter.
The tannins will open up. They turn into something smoother. He waited a beat, licked his lips.
Huh, you're right.
He smiled. That was my first customer. That smile reminded me of my dad. He died when I was 15. His hands never got clean. Bill became a regular. He came by every night after work, had a glass, listened to me talk about wine. He didn't know the jargon, but he'd ask.
What's that taste?
I'd say,
Blackberry.
Never had a blackberry.
He'd say,
Sweet, a little tart, like a berry.
He'd nod, like he was trying to memorize a flavor he'd never actually tasted. His call work started coming. Jim, 45, truck driver with a belly and a loud voice. First time he showed up, he stood in the doorway for a long time, like he wasn't sure he belonged. Bill waved him in. Margaret, 58, grocery store cashier, divorced, lived alone. She wore her store's red uniform, her hair pinned back. She didn't talk much, but she always brought a bag of peanuts, left it on the table, never said a word about it. None of them knew wine, but they wanted to learn. I never charged for my classes, because I wasn't teaching them. I was saving myself. Every night, they came. My garage was barely 150 square feet, but it was packed. They brought beer, peanuts, braised snacks. I never took a dime, but when they left, they'd always slip a bill under their glass. A five. I never said anything. That was their pride. After everyone left, I sat alone in that empty garage. The glasses were still on the table, the last sips of wine, dark red in the light. I thought about my mother's last bottle. She made it the year before, from grapes in our backyard when she drank it. She said, Elena, wine and people are the same. They need time. My mother had been gone 10 years. She never knew what I became. Maybe she did, but she wouldn't have said. But the peace didn't last.
One night, I noticed someone hanging around the gas station for a long time. A black SUV, parked under the streetlight, engine running, blending into the dark. The windows couldn't see inside. I stood behind the garage window and waited. An hour later, the car drove off. The engine echoed through the empty town like an animal growling.
The next day I got a text from an unknown number. I gripped my phone so hard my knuckles went white. They knew where I was. Sebastian's people had found me. I didn't tell Bill, didn't tell anyone. I screenshot the text and saved it in an encrypted folder. Then I went back to teaching. My hands were steady on the glass, but my legs were shaking under the table. But I knew I had to do something. That night, I took Sebastian's notebook out from the bottom of my toolbox. Black cover, edges worn down. I opened it. His handwriting, page after page of numbers and names. Every deal was someone's trust he'd sold. I started taking pictures of every page, backing them up to 3 different cloud accounts. Then I dug a hidden compartment in the bottom of the old toolbox Bill given me from his army days. No idea what was in there. He thought it was just where I kept my tools. At the same time, I hid a camera behind an old clock, aimed at the door and windows. I didn't know if they'd come back, but I had to be ready. The wind whistled through the gaps in the tin roof, carrying the smell of gasoline and dirt. I stood at the window and looked down the road out of town. At the end of that road was Napa Valley. Sebastian was there. I was here, 1,800 miles apart, and a war with no bullets.
A few days later, a guy with a camera bag walked in. His name was Oscar, 27, 28. His hair was a mess like he hadn't cut it in 3 months. Old jacket with bulging pockets, jeans with holes, not fashion holds who'd wandered into the wrong yard. He said he was a photographer's assistant, just passing through, saw my sign, got curious. I poured him a Pinot Noir. He didn't throw it back like Bill. He swirled it, smelled it. His technique wasn't perfect, but at least he knew what he was supposed to do. He drank what I poured, listened to my class, took some photos. His lens found the glasses, the workers' hands, me. After class, he came up to me, quiet voice.
You're Elena Blanco.
I used to be. I didn't deny it.
I know your story.
Whatever the media said, it's not true.
I know.
I looked up at him. He had quiet eyes, like a pond that never rippled.
How do you know?
Because of your eyes.
That was the first time I felt like someone believed me. Not my expertise, not my innocence, just me as a person. Oscar posted his photos online. The caption, a sommelier blacklisted by the industry teaching wine to blue-collar workers in a small town. The photos were good. The oil stains, the cheap glasses, the focus in the workers' eyes, and the light, not some fake art light, real light. His lens didn't pretty and through the win-up, but it didn't make anything ugly either.
It just looked. Overnight, it blew up. Not because of me, because the photos were too real. Some people recognized me. Isn't that the one who rigged the ratings? Others asked, why is she there? The comments section turned into a war zone.
My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, colleagues, strangers. Some wanted interviews. Some wanted to yell at me. Some said they were coming to see me. I turned off my phone and kept teaching. Glass in hand, wine in glass. Comments don't change how it tastes. But that wasn't what scared me. It was the message from Sebastian. You're hiding something of mine, or I can't guarantee your student safety. He crossed a line. Not my life. My students' lives. Bill, Jim, Margaret, they didn't know anything. They just come here normally. I showed the text to Oscar.
Did you call the cops?
No, not enough proof.
What are you gonna do?
I looked out the window. Same road, darker now. I'll make him expose himself. From that day on, I started leaking a piece of information during my classes. I had another backup, hidden somewhere else. I said it casually, like it slipped out, but I knew the quiet man in the corner was listening. Sure enough, 3 days later, my garage was torn apart. Drawer bob was pulled out, box open, shattered on the floor, but they were looking in the wrong place. I'd moved the notebook. This time, I'd already set up the hidden camera. The footage caught a man in a cap. I'm no expert, but I recognized him. Sebastian's personal driver, Lucas. 10 years at the Winery. I'd poured him a glass once. He smiled at me. I gave the video to the police. The police called Sebastian in.
But he claimed Lucas was just bringing me something.
Not enough evidence for an arrest. But he caught it all on camera. He'd been filming the whole time. His hands were steady, like his heart.
Elena, I'll help you submit these clues properly.
I shook my head. Not yet. We wait for the right time. Just then, an unexpected guest showed up. The owner of a wine magazine, Richard Winter, a white-haired man in his 60s, came all the way to our town. He wore a tailored suit, polished shoes, and standing in my garage doorway, he looked like a painting room. He sat on a folding chair and ordered my cheapest wine. Didn't frown, didn't hesitate.
Elena, I've read your tasting notes for 10 years. You were right. That wine was an 89.
Why do you believe me?
Because someone inside Duke Winery came forward. The FBI is involved.
My fingers tapped the table, came forward. Who?
You want to come back?
Back where?
Back to being a sommelier.
No.
Why?
Because I don't want to go back. He looked at me for a long time. The garage was quiet except for Bill working on a car outside. Clank, clank.
So what do you want to do?
Stay here. Teach them.
If you change your mind, call me.
I didn't take it, but he left it on the table. The card sat there all day. That night, I put it in the drawer, next to my license revocation letter. Not because I changed my mind, but because I wanted to remember. Someone out there believed me over the media.
The FBI showed up, 2 agents in dark suits standing in my garage doorway, looking completely out of place.
Carter, Michelle De Blanco, could we have a word?
We sat in the corner of themselves, asked if we could stageage. I gave them water, not Vine. To cut a deal, Sebastian missed everything. How they changed the score, how they faked the emails, how they used the Windherson's financial trouble to cover it up. The news broke, Duke Winery accused of raiding air under investigation. Sebastian denied it on camera, but his eyes gave him away. Those eyes I'd kissed. They looked like dry wells.
Elena, you win.
He called me, his voice shaky. Elena, you win. It's not winning. It's the truth. He went quiet, just his breathing on the line, like wind through an empty hallway. I hung up. The next day, he came to town himself. He stood in my doorway in a wrinkled suit, like he hadn't slept in days. He was thinner. His hair had gone grayed. His eyes were sunken.
Give me back the evidence.
It's already with the FBI.
He laughed. It was an ugly laugh, almost a cry.
You know I'm going to prison, right? You know you destroyed me, right?
He lowered his head. I turned and walked inside and closed the door. He didn't follow. I leaned against the door, my hands shaking. Sunlight hit the concrete floor, blinding. Bill was outside working on a car. He had no idea what was happening. He asked me,
Are you scared?
I said, no, because I've got nothing left to lose. The truth, I was scared. Just regular people from a small town. They didn't ask to be part of this, but I didn't want them to know. All they had to do was come drink. That was enough. Sebastian got arrested, fraud and falsifying documents. They held him in custody, waiting for trial. His lawyer reached out. They wanted me to testify. I didn't say no. The day of the trial, I wore a black suit and stood at the witness stand. The courtroom was huge, high ceilings. My voice echoed a little. His eyes were empty when he looked at me, like I was a stranger. I told them everything. I handed over all the backup evidence, screenshots of emails, bank transfers, security footage. Every piece of evidence was another nail in his coffin. The judge gave him 3 years and $1 million fine. I walked out of the courthouse, and reporters swarmed me.
Elena, are you happy?
I said no. They froze. Why? Because nobody wins here.
Will you get your license back?
Yes.
Will you go back to being a sommelier?
No. They were completely lost.
Then what will you do?
I'm already doing it. I went back to town. On the garage wall, there was a new newspaper clipping. Bill had pinned it to the wall with a thumbtick. It was crooked. He didn't care.
You're not going back?
No,
Why?
because there are people here waiting for me.
Bill smiled. His smile was better than any wine.
The tasting room started doing better. Not just people from town. Folks from nearby cities started driving out. Some said she was a fraud. Some said she was a victim. Let them decide for themselves.
Why don't you explain?
Explaining doesn't help. Drinking does. He didn't get it. He didn't need to. My classes went from once a week to every day. People came to drink during the day, to learn at night.
The garage wasn't big enough anymore.
I rented the empty warehouse next door and knocked through the wall. We made a doorway. No door, just a cloth curtain. The name stayed the same, the Oil Can Tasting Room. That was where I started. It was my brand now. One day, a woman showed up claiming to be a reporter from Wine Spectator. She asked a lot of people a lot of questions about the score-fixing scandal. I had a feeling she wasn't a reporter. Her questions were too detailed, the kind of details only someone on the inside would know. After she left, I found my toolbox. The one where I'd hidden the notebook had been pried open. The notebook was gone. The hidden compartment had been ripped out and thrown on the floor. I called the cops immediately. They found the torn-up notebook in a trash can at the gas station, but someone had already photographed out everything inside. The pieces were scattered in the bag, like a bunch of black butterflies.
Who did it?
Sebastian's people. Still out there.
What are you going to do?
I'll make him say it himself.
From that day on, a stranger showed up in my class. A quiet middle-aged man, always in the corner, never drinking, just watching. I knew Sebastian had sent him. I'd seen his face before, on the prison visitor log. I decided to turn the tables. I didn't call him out. Instead, I started feeding him fake information. I said I had more than one copy of the evidence, and someone else was holding on to it for me. It's hidden. No one's going to find it. The man's eyes lit up. I knew he'd taken the bait. Then I posted online that I was planning to release all the evidence to the public. Sure enough, 2 days later, my garage got torn apart again. But this time I'd already set up a hidden camera. The footage caught a face, not Lucas this time, someone else. I didn't know him, but I knew he was connected to Sebastian. I gave the video to they traced his license plate. He worked for a private investigation firm, and that firm did business with Sebastian's lawyer. The chain was complete. The police called Sebastian in, but he denied everything. Still not enough evidence. But I knew, even from inside prison, he was still trying to hurt me.
Are you scared?
No. I'm used to being betrayed by
He
now.
looked at me without saying anything. His hand was on the table, close to mine. He didn't take mine, but he didn't pull away either. The tasting room kept growing, and I got my license back. The Sommelier Association sent me a letter. Welcome back. I put it in the drawer. I didn't need it anymore. Not judging other people's wine wasn't his taste. More and more factories kept coming. I was cutting it. Rusted metal doors. The yard was full of weeds. It took me 3 months to fix it up. I didn't turn it into anything fancy. Just painted the walls, changed the lights, poured a concrete floor. No desks in the classroom. Just long table. The name stayed the same. The People's Sommelier Academy. Not a university, a trade school. No tuition, just bring a bottle. We'd taste together, learn together. Some people said it wasn't a school, it was just a drinking party. I said you'll just learn something while you're at it. Bill became my teaching assistant. He couldn't read, but he could smell.
This one smells like oak.
How do you know?
Because I've smelled oak.
6 smiled. They got certificates, People's. Not official ones. I printed them myself. Black ink on white paper, with a red stamp I bought in office supply store. It said, you don't need to be an expert, just a better version of your. They cry didn't, because they didn't need my tears. They needed my proud. Oscar came back. He took photos of the graduation and posted them online. The caption, the first started Sommelier Academy in. Donations, wine glasses, bottles, money. I didn't take the money. Money changes things. I only took wine, because wine is for tasting.
Why won't you take donations?
Because if I do, I won't be me anymore. He nodded, raised his camera, and took another shot. It was the best photo he ever took of me. Me standing in front of the wine racks, glass in hand, sunlight coming through the window, hitting my face, stretching my shadow long.
This is the one.
I wasn't smiling, but he said, this is the one.
Why?
Because it's real.
I looked at the photo. I was 32. No wrinkles yet, but there was already something in my eyes. Not the light of youth. Something heavier, the kind you only get after you've been through things. Sebastian wrote me a letter from prison.
Elena, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have used you. Shouldn't have destroyed you.
I said you didn't destroy me. You just put me on a different road. He didn't write back. The guard said he balled up the letter in his cell and threw it in the toilet.
Did you forgive him?
No.
Did you forgive him?
No.
Why?
Because forgiveness isn't just a word.
Then when will you?
Maybe never.
He nodded, didn't try to talk me out of it. He never tried to talk me out of anything. He just sat there beside me, like a rock. Rocks don't talk, but you know they're there. The academy expanded. I hired new teachers, not sommeliers, winemakers, servers, grape growers. We didn't just teach tasting, we taught winemaking, grape growing, sales, because tasting isn't the point. Understanding wine is.
Bill could finally write his own name.
He wrote Bill on the blackboard with chalk. Crooked, like a kid just learning.
Good job.
Really?
Really.
He smiled. That was the first time I saw him proud of himself. A wine group came to me. They wanted to invest in the academy, turn the People's Sommelier into a chain. They made a high offer. I had to count the zeros 3 times. No.
Why?
Because if it's a chain, it's not for the people anymore.
You don't want to make money?
Enough to eat is enough.
What are you after then?
Your smiles.
He didn't understand. He didn't need to. A woman from Napa Valley walked into the academy. She was Sebastian's mother, old Mrs. Duke. She was dressed impeccably. Her hair was perfect. Pearl necklace around her neck, every pearl round and shiny. She stood in that garage-aunt classroom like a flower in the wrong vase. She sat in the back and listened to my class. I was teaching about Pinot Noir regions, from Burgundy to Oregon. She didn't take notes, but she listened the whole time. After class, she came up to me. Her lips moved, but nothing came out.
Elena, I'm sorry. It's not your fault. He's the one who wronged you.
He's already in prison.
Can you forgive him?
No. She lowered her head. The pearls slipped, and she caught them with her hand. She left. I didn't walk her out. She didn't need forgiveness. She needed to let go. I was trying to learn that too.
Who was that?
A ghost from the past. He didn't ask again. The academy turned 3. We got our own vineyard. Not big, just 2 acres, on a hillside east of town. The soil wasn't great, lots of gravel, but it drained well. I brought in an expert from the agricultural department. He said we could plant, but yields would be low. I said the yield didn't matter, what matters that it was ours. We planted Cabernet, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. Bill handled the watering, Jim did the fertilizing, Margaret did the pruning. None of them knew anything about growing grapes, but they wanted to learn. The first harvest gave us 100 bottles. No name, no label, just handwritten, Yellowstone. Bill wrote it, crooked letters his time, bottle by bottle. I took a sip. It was sour. Sour enough to make me winch, but it was ours. No matter how sour, it was good. We didn't sell that batch. We gave it away to the townspeople.
Bill sent his bottle to his daughter in Chicago.
Hello?
She called and said, "Dad, this wine is really good." He cried. That was the first time his daughter didn't say anything, because some things don't need words. Sebastian got out early. Good behavior. They cut 6 months off his sentence. I didn't get any notice. He called me the day he got out.
Elena, I'm out.
Silence. Wind blew across the receiver, hissing.
We're not done yet.
He hung up. I held the phone. My hand was shaking, not from fear, from anger. 3 years. I'd rebuilt everything in this town, and the first thing he said to me was, "We're not done yet." I told Bill what happened.
Should we call the cops?
Won't do any good. He hasn't done anything yet.
So what are you going to do?
I'll show him I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago. From that day on, I told everyone at the academy to keep their eyes open. I reinforced the doors and windows, changed the locks. I also hired a retired cop for security. Frank, 60s, a veteran, perf duster.
Don't worry. Walk likes touching this place.
He carried a walkie-talkie on his belt, bought it himself. He called it his weapon. Sebastian came to town. He stood at the academy gates in civilian clothes. He looked older, thinner. His hair was half gray, lots of new wrinkles around his eyes. Same eyes, but something in them had changed. Not hatred, something darker.
You've done well for yourself.
What do you want?
To talk.
There's nothing to talk about.
That flash drive you have, you still have it.
My heart skipped a beat. I don't know what you're talking about. He smiled.
You think I don't have other ways? One move against any of those people around you and you'll be begging me.
He turned and walked away. I found Frank immediately and told him Sebastian might go after our students.
I'll step up patrols.
But the next day, Margaret's grocery store got smashed up. Glass everywhere. The cash drawer was pulled open, but the money was still there. Margaret was crying, standing in the middle of all that broken glass, hands shaking, lips white. I was furious. I went to find Sebastian. He was staying at the town motel, ground floor, window facing the parking lot. I knocked. He opened the door. "You come after me, not them."
You finally came.
He smiled. He asked me in. I stayed in the doorway.
Give me the drive and I'll leave them alone.
The drive isn't with me.
Then where is it?
In a place you'll never find.
You're not afraid I'll hurt you?
His face changed. You won't. You've already got a record, one more move and you're a repeat offender. He went quiet. I turned and left.
Elena, you're going to regret this!
He yelled after me. I didn't look back. I called the FBI. They agreed to send protection to the academy, but they needed evidence. I said he threatened me.
They asked, do you have it on tape?
No. From that day on, I carried a voice recorder. Not a big one. A tiny one, hidden in my pocket. Push with my thumb and it starts recording. Sebastian didn't leave town. He hung around the academy every day like a vulture. The students and teachers were scared. Someone asked me, "Elena, who is that man?" Someone from the past. They didn't believe me, but they didn't ask again.
We can't keep going like this.
I know. I decided to confront him head on. I asked him to meet me at the town cafe. Public place. People around. I turned on the recorder ahead of time, hidden in my jacket pocket. He showed up in that wrinkled suit, like it was the only decent thing he owned. What do you really want?
The drive. And your silence.
I've got so many backups of that drive, you'll never destroy them all.
Then you'll live in my shadow forever.
No. You'll live in mine.
You think those people believe you? You're just a sommelier who lost her license?
But I have proof.
He stood up suddenly, lowered his voice, and leaned close to my ear.
You believe me when I say I can make something happen to that Bill guy?
My blood went cold.
Try it.
Maybe I will.
He walked out. My recorder caught all of it.
I handed the recording over to the FBI. They arrested Sebastian immediately.
Threatening behavior. This time, no bail. Violation of his parole.
They sent him back to prison to wait for a new trial. In court, he looked at me with nothing but hate in his eyes. Not because I'd hurt him, because I'd made him lose.
Do you have anything to say?
The judge asked if he had anything to say. He stared at me and said,
You ruined me.
I said, "You ruined yourself."
They took him away, the bailiff's hand on his shoulder, hands cuffed behind his back. His head was down, his back was bent, like a man broken. I walked out of the courthouse. The sun was blinding.
Bill was waiting for me outside.
It's over.
It's over.
He took my hand, first time he'd ever held my hand, rough, but warm. The calories on his palm felt like sandpaper, but his grip was gentle. I cried. Not because I was sad, because finally, someone was on my side.
Sebastian was sentenced again. 2 more years. No parole. He was finally out of my life for good. I stopped being afraid. The academy went back to being peaceful. We got new students. The vineyard had a good harvest. Bill's wine kept getting better. People started driving in from out of town just to buy it. I stepped back and let a younger person take my place. His name was Michael, a poor kid from town. Couldn't afford college after high school, so he worked at the auto shop. I taught him for 3 years in mine, grapes variety. He could pick out 7 making different aromas in a single glass. Tasting skills, serving elegance. He learned fast, like a dry sponge soaking everything up. The day he graduated, I gave him a key, the key to the academy.
Elena, you're my teacher.
You're my pride. He took the key and hung it around his neck. The sunlight hit it and flashed. Michael became the star teacher at the academy. He explained the most complicated wines in the simplest words. The students loved him.
You should retire.
No.
Why?
Because someone's still waiting for me. He didn't get it. He didn't need to. I turned 60, still at the academy, still teaching, still tasting. My hair went gray, my hands shook a little, but my tongue was still there. A tongue doesn't get old. The academy had over 100 graduates now. Some became samplers at hotels. Some did sales at wineries. Some opened their own tasting rooms like me. They called me, sent me wine, wrote me letters. They didn't become masters, but they became themselves. My story got made into a documentary. The title was The Wine Taster in the Oil Can. The director was a young woman, flew in from New York with her camera. She followed me for a month, filmed my classes, filmed me tasting, filmed Bill and me walking through the vineyard.
Do you hate him?
No.
Why?
Because hating him would make me weak. She nodded and didn't push. Good interviewers know when to stop. After the documentary aired, I got a lot of letters. Some said, your story makes me want to learn about wine. Some said, your story makes me want to quit my job. I wrote back, don't quit your job, just come to class on weekends. Not one of them listened. They all quit. Not because of me, because they already wanted to quit. They just needed an excuse. The academy turned 30. We held a tasting, not of fancy wines, of wines our Winery students had made themselves. Some were sour, some were harsh, some were thin, but every bottle had a name, a story. The bottle Bill brought was called Elena. I took a sip. Not sour, not harsh, just right.
You did it.
You taught me.
We both smiled. That was the wine he'd been making his whole life, from sour to just right. It took him 30 years. In the vineyard, the sun was setting. The sky was orange, like a glass of aged Sutas. I turned 70, sat at the edge of the vineyard and watched Michael teach. He was good. Better than me. He used metaphors, stories, laughter. The students gathered around him like bees around a flower.
Bill sat next to me, a glass in his hand. He took a sip.
Sour.
That's tannin.
You told me that before.
That was the first time he remembered my word. I didn't correct him anymore. It didn't matter if he got it right or wrong. What mattered was that we were still here. Sebastian died.
He had a heart attack in prison. They couldn't save him. His sister called me, said he wanted to see me. I asked where he was. She said the hospital. I went. He was already gone. Elena, his sister, handed me a letter. He'd written it.
I put the letter in my pocket, didn't write back. I walked out of the hospital. The sun was beautiful. I took a deep breath. The air smelled like grass, like dirt, like hope. I didn't hate him anymore. I'd let it go. The New York Times wrote about me.
Do you consider yourself successful?
What's success?
Fame, money, influence?
I don't have any of those, but I have Bill. I have Michael. I have those students. If they succeeded, then I succeeded. The reporter didn't say anything. He didn't get it. He didn't need to.
I handed the academy keys over to Michael.
Aren't you keeping one?
I did, in my heart.
He took the keys and hung them around his neck. Same as when
I gave him the first one years ago, but that one was old now. These were new. I walked out the gate and looked back at the sign, the People's Sommelier Academy. It was still there, and it would stay there. I got in the car and started the engine. Bill was outside the window, waving. I waved back. I didn't cry. I'd already done my crying. I moved to the coast, not Florida, Maine, forests, ocean, quiet. Every morning I sat on my porch and watched the sunrise. The sun came up over the water, spreading gold across the waves. I thought about the wines, the students, the stories. They were all behind me now, but I was still here, still breathing. Bill sent me a bottle of wine of his month. The label had the date on it in his crooked numbers. I'd take a sip, close my eyes, and decline, and I could hear the students laughing. Bill passed away. His daughter called me. Her voice was horsey.
Before Dad went, he told me to give you this.
It was a wooden box. He'd made it himself, and the corner's bottle of wine. He'd sanded it down. The label said the Lass. I opened it, poured a glass, and took a sip. Not sour, not harsh, just right. He'd done it. I cried. I poured his wine into the ocean in Maine. That blue, his favorite color. He said it was the color of his daughter's eyes. I went back to Yellowstone for Bill's funeral. Everyone from town came. Michael stood at the front. Jim was holding Margaret's arm. Margaret was old now, She needed help walking, but she came anyway. I stood in the back and looked at his picture, black and white, from when he was young, in his army uniform. He was smiling. I put a glass of wine in front of his gravestone. It was from our academy's very first batch, the label that said Yellowstone. The paper had yellowed, the writing had faded, but I'd kept it all these years. Bill, can you taste it? The wind blew through the leaves. That was his answer. The academy turned 40. I was 82, sitting in a wheelchair. Michael pushed me around the academy. More classrooms, more students. The vineyard had grown, but the old garage was still there. So was that hand-painted sign. I never took it down. That was where I started. A young student walked over with a bottle of wine. Teacher Elena, I made this. I took a sip. Sour. Wait 2 more years. He nodded. He wasn't upset. He smiled, because he knew, when I said wait 2 years, that meant it had potential.
He walked away. You were too hard on him.
If I'm not hard on him, he won't learn. That's how my teacher was with me. Too bad Sebastian wasn't my student, he was my lover. Some people you can never teach. The wedding got married. The Michael was in the vineyard. No wedding in students. No young, no flowers. Just wine.
Long tables under the grape fears. The white cloths bullered in the wind. They didn't exchange rings. They exchanged glasses. I sat in my wheelchair, watching them. Sebastian and I once stood in a vineyard too. He said, "Ale, we're going to make the best wine in the world." He didn't do it. I did. Not the same kind of wine, but both good. I wrote a book. I called it The Last Glass. Not an autobiography, a story. About Bill, about Michael, about Margaret, about Yellowstone, and Sebastian. I didn't hate him, but I remembered him. You remember someone not because you hate them, but because you don't want to forget.
Why that title?
Because the last glass is always the best one. After the book came out, I got a lot of letters. One old woman wrote, "Your book reminded me of my husband, he made wine too." I wrote back, "Then he must have been a good man." She wrote back, "He was." I came back to the academy for the last time. Michael pushed me through every classroom, every wine cellar, every row of vines. The sun was setting. The sky was orange.
Elena, is there anything you want to say?
No,
Not one last thing?
it's all in the wine.
He smiled. I handed the academy over to Michael for good. He pushed me to the gate and I looked back at the sign, the People's Sommelier Academy. I smiled and turned away.
You're really not coming back?
I will, but not as a teacher, as a guest.
He nodded. Today I'm sitting on a bench by the ocean, watching the sunset. The sky is orange. The ocean is blue. The wind blows through my white hair. I take out a glass and pour some wine. Not store-bought, Bill's wine. The label says the last glass. The paper has yellowed, but I've kept it all this time. I take a sip. It's good. Not because of the wine, because of the people. In the distance, kids are playing in the sand. Their laughter is soft and far away. I smile.
The last glass is always the best one. I set the glass down on the bench, stand up with my cane, and slowly walk home. The sunset stretches my shadow long behind me. Tomorrow, the sun will rise again. Tomorrow, someone will make wine, someone will taste it, and someone will believe that the last glass is the best one.